how activity schedules will incorporate chaining processes, and you'll see lots of examples that are going around on activity schedules. The afternoon book that's coming around is different from the Bagel program. The Bagel program is a distinct chaining skills teaching program. The afternoon schedule is it's an attempt to structure the schedule in the afternoon to aid the child's predictability, to maybe even let them embed choices within that. It's to try to fight against the tendency to have boredom or inappropriate behaviors that occur, to help them learn how to engage themselves meaningfully. Because we know that, especially kids on the autism spectrum, and we serve more than just kids on the autism spectrum, but if it's any and all of those kinds of disabilities and delays that you might see, then you'll know that kids need that level of structure. And that if you don't have that structure in place, then sometimes you will see behaviors emerge, just boredom issues, you'll see a tendency to constantly want to be on the computer and screen time. It's a way to, even when you embed computer and screen time in there, and some people will say, well, I didn't really want to do screen time in there, you'll find that you're actually the child's doing it less than before because they know when it's coming, it's time limited, and you move on from there. So often tasks that are not performed without adult prompts, you would want to think about using a schedule, because as you guys said in the back of the room there is, I don't see this individual performing the task without me doing a great deal of prompting. And so let the schedule do the work. The goal is to have the person complete the task or the activity, the school schedule, the night routine, the play and leisure schedule, accessing play equipment and what to do. Going to swing first. Same thing with like a workout or aerobic schedule. We've done those for students just to increase fitness level. Those occurring without adult guidance. So an activity schedule, I could define that a little bit more for you, as a set of words or pictures. Notice these are pictures, but if the person's a reader, you would probably use text cues. They don't always have to be picture cues, and they don't have to be that big. And you see the one that's coming around that had all the little words on it, that's completely text-based. So there's no picture icons on there, it's just the child at the reading level, and so the schedule is a reading schedule. A set of words or pictures, or as I said, words, that cue the learner to engage in a sequence of activities. So it's sequencing the activities that they have. So it leads to self-direction, and it leads to more dependence. They're natural, because we all use schedules, as we said before. We don't always plan to fade out these schedules. Electronic schedules, paper schedules, even schedules on a dry erase board. And we want to reduce the cues, but not eliminate, for the most part, the cues. And so I'm thinking about even like a grocery shopping routine, when you want to think about daily living and independence for a person that might be moving towards independent living, is we've used schedules too, and I know other schools have used these so efficiently and effectively, where it's having them say, get your wallet. It's going to be the whole sequence of getting on public transportation and walking to the store at the corner. And it's picking out the item you want to purchase. And it might be where they have created a grocery list during the week. They take that grocery list with them. And there's even applications. We love all the applications. There's like a John application where you can select in advance what you want, and it prints out a list. And it'll even sometimes tell you which aisle it's on, all those fabulous applications. And those could even be amenable here, where you would go and then buy the item, check it off, have it in your basket, check it off, put the next thing, check it off, go and pay and come home. So a whole grocery shopping routine that might be tied in with public transportation and making the purchase. So it's embedding a big schedule of things. So they can take many forms. Homework schedules is one. We use homework schedules a lot for kids that have difficulties completing tasks at home and after school with their academic tasks, where we might have them take their agenda book and translate it into a written schedule and be very specific there with what it is. It's going to be, one math sheet, page 32. You outline it. You might build a break in it, a neutral break, maybe without screens to start. Then you would go to one or two activities and then take a break. That might be when mom or dad checks the work, then one or two other tasks, and then done. Building and conferred in natural times. So it can take many forms, as we said. A binder, you see many binders coming around, daily planners, picture or text icons. Activities with a clear beginning and end are best to incorporate, but you know that some things we want to incorporate do not have a natural beginning or an end. So if you're going to incorporate computer time, because it's a leisure built in with homework or whatever it is, then you're going to have to use a timer for the person to train. And one of the videos I'm going to show you shows the use of a timer with watching television. The question that you had earlier is you can still structure afternoon times without making it 10 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, versus overworking and it's not even leisure. We still want the end goal to be in mind that it's a leisure task. So it's also trying to see what is leisure for that person. So if we want to teach a game for them to play, for one student we tried to teach Light Bright because they have a lot of visual kind of stereotypies, and we thought, that's a good play replacement, that's very bright and visual. No, the game was constantly thrown on the floor. So then we went to Simon, which is look at the lights, repeat the pattern, engage yourself more meaningful than looking at light bulbs and fluorescence on the ceiling. So it's just trying to also go with the person's natural inclination and seeing if you have a game in the leisure schedule, the natural end is the end of Shoots and Ladders or whatever it is, Hi-Ho Cheerio. There's a natural end there. That's where you can have where they select a playing partner. They go and say, Mom, would you like to play a game? So you can build in language into that, but you need the adult trainer to instill the whole chain as you go, like a separate prompter aside from Mom, because it's hard to prompt and be the communicative partner. So it's just how you build that in, like you can build things in. So in terms of activities with a clear beginning or an end, those work the easiest. Like if you're going to do a matching worksheet, which is in one of the videos, it's a natural end because you've got everything matching, you put the bed back. A puzzle, it's all completed, natural end. Computer, not so much so. Listening to an iPod, not so much so. Playing Wii, maybe not, maybe. So taught using errorless teaching. You'll see some of these repeating from the earlier slides. I'm just driving home the point, it's still a chaining. Instructor reinforces and then fades to self-reinforcement. So the person just natural enjoyment, hopefully, but for some of the students who work with, the natural enjoyment to do the leisure task is not there. It's very much competing with just sitting and having stereotypic behaviors, ritualistic behaviors, or fixating on some of the same type of solar system things, ceiling fans, whatever it is. It's trying to compete with that, and sometimes you have to teach it and pair it for it to then become motivating. So that's why we're using the leisure schedule. Once we did use a playground schedule that I'm thinking of right now, where the child had to come back and it didn't look supernatural, but it taught the skill and over time got more natural. Point to the swings, go on the swings. Point to the slide, go down the slide. So it was teaching them to not walk around the perimeter. It wasn't an engagement program, which you could have an social engagement. It wasn't that. It was engaging in playground equipment, meaningful way. And when they went out for recess, the schedule was there and they were on the schedule. How to access play like everybody else. And it maybe wasn't as fun to start, but over time we competed with it. Okay. If you allow choice within the schedule, that can definitely increase the motivation. This was one of the things we were thinking about most recently, just in the last week, with one of the students who doesn't seem super motivated by our schedule. The other thing is looking forward in the schedule. And we can problem solve a little bit more, but I think the positive is that schedules help the child to predict what's going to happen. So probably helping you to set it up or setting it up themselves with some options. In those little books with the sleeves, you can see a lot of them are photo albums. Some of them could be set, like homework's going to always be third, but they could pick if a game goes first and whatever goes second, so they have some choice. And then maybe you preview with them before, like, Mary, let's see what we're going to do today, before you start the schedule. First, a snack. Oh, then we need to go and pick up Joey. Oh, then we have, Miss Mary coming for her OT. Then you're going to do a snack. And you show them the schedule so that they don't need to necessarily reference forward, which referencing forward can be a very good sign. I want to know what's coming next because I am going to be following the schedule. And that's good. So you may need to show them and allow choice in there. And it will aid environmental change because all of a sudden you find that the speech person's not coming today. Or you find, like I guess that did come up, that, well, we need to leave because we don't have time to set the table today. So you would switch those icons out, picture or text, and you would actually review it in advance. Same thing with you doing a schedule at school, and the schedule changes. Oh, it's picture day. Putting that on there and helping the child understand and predict. Half-day schedules are good too. If there's a lot on there and it's too much to process, sometimes we'll just say break it down to a half-day schedule, and then we move the icons over as the schedule's done. And schedules do increase motivation because you have some natural stuff that they like to do. It's like making a deal, we're going to do this, and when you get to that, that's about as long as you're going to work. So when a student knows that it's only those amounts, they're more likely to stick with it than some ambiguous of how much and how many. And so there is a student that we've been working with who we saw in her behavior data sheet that reading was the only place we were seeing aggression, high rates of tantrum behavior. So the idea was presented to break the reading time into a mini schedule with just a simple dry erase board. So we would say, it's time, and we actually avoided the word reading. It's time to do desk work. So what we have today, page 3, share the page, put it on the side. I read to you, you listen, reading, and then you draw a picture, show the picture. And we would draw those or write those on the schedule. And it's only been 3 or 4 days, but the teacher was reporting that, wow, okay, that's been eliminated. The aggression, because there's a predictability. I'm not going to be pushed, especially sometimes when kids are in better states of behavior. Sometimes we end up pushing. Let's do 5 pages today, because I'm going